The thick fur and layer of fat that lies beneath the skin of wild boars allow them to survive in temperatures as low as -30 degrees Celsius in snowy countries such as Europe, Russia, and North America. Wild boars are well suited to the cold because of their thick fur and layer of fat beneath the skin. In spite of the terrible weather, however, they continue to search for food with unrelenting determination and continue to wreak havoc on our villages. It was immediately decided to go on a hunt by the local hunting squad, which included me, in order to bring the situation under control. Someone or something deep within me was suddenly slowed down by the distant barking of hunting dogs after I had been standing still for approximately 15 minutes. Unhesitatingly, I made my way toward the commotion that was occurring. I assured myself that it had to be wild boars as I raised my rifle to my shoulder. A shade of darkness was present. The trigger was pulled by me. He was wounded by a boar and surrounded by dogs when he slumped and became lifeless. Another wild boar was sighted by John's group just a few hundred meters distant from where they had just arrived at their position. Instantaneously, he selected a favorable vantage point and shifted his scope in the direction of the target. A single shot reverberated across the chilly air. The death of the boar occurred in a split second. Expedited, spotless, and accurate. In order to improve my chances, I did not remain in a single location. While I was searching for new targets, I continued to move through the forest. The earlier firing must have caused a herd to become scared. People were running away. With no time to ponder, I proceeded to adjust my scope and then shot. To our good fortune, every single bullet found its target, and the takedown became both speedy and effective. We waited for another half an hour, but we did not see any more boars despite the fact that the temperature continued to decrease. The group came to the conclusion that they should assemble the findings of the hunt and then return. On the following day, we once again embarked on a mission to seek for boars in a different forest. Because we did not have any hunting dogs, we had to be extra vigilant and check very closely for any indicators, such as tracks or that distinct smell of cigarette smoke. I was able to identify my next target as a result of that. Between the trunks of the trees, its figure was seen flickering. The moment I realized I couldn't afford to let it get away, I raised my weapon and fired the trigger. Another clean kill, another trophy to remember the day, and a perfect shot to round off the day. I did not waste any time and hurried out of the forest to intercept a boar jaw that was believed to be in a drift occurrence. As my heart raced, I attempted to calm my breathing. I opened fire as the boars were fleeing the area. The stillness of the jungle was broken by the sound of gunshots. We had high hopes that the bullet would hit its objective, and it definitely did. It started snowing much more heavily, and we had no choice but to retreat for our own safety. However, just as we were about to relocate, a buddy unexpectedly called to inform us of something. At a distance of only 50 meters, a herd of wild boars was running toward the area. Having already loaded my weapon, I made a hasty advance. To pull the trigger was the only thing that remained to do. It was hit, but the boar made an attempt to escape. Prior to its collapse, he did not make much progress. Even the icy and perilous paths through the forest were not able to stop us. This voyage is not merely a hunter's journey. Rather, it is a responsibility to safeguard our territory. Reports indicate that wild boars frequently exit the dense forest during the winter months in search of food, which results in a large amount of agricultural devastation. According to the findings of a study conducted by the Food and Agriculture Organization, the activity level of boars might increase by as much as 30% during this season. This is the reason why we continue our hunts for wild boars in the dense forest, even when the temperature is quite low. Our group started the ascent as planned in order to assist in bringing their growing numbers under control. On days like this one, when the sun is shining brightly, boars are more inclined to come out and bask in the warmth or search for food. Furthermore, for us, that is the opportunity of a lifetime. Every member of the group cleaned the area from their respective assignments. The unmistakable barking of our hounds could be heard from a considerable distance. There were boars about, my gun was elevated, and my finger was ready to press the trigger, prepare to hit the target. A boar is a difficult animal to hunt in this mountainous environment because of its remote location. There was a boar that emerged from the foliage. First, I opened fire on it. In spite of the fact that the mountains are enormous and the boars are many, the only weapons we had were our willpower and our firearms. We continued to make our way toward the peak. Suddenly, may I ask what that was? An entire herd of wild boars came crashing down from the ridge on the other side of one another. As soon as I caught sight of them, I moved in close proximity to them. On the other hand, these animals are lightning swift. Even though I worked very hard, I was only able to bring down one of them. Due to the fact that this location had been covered in a thick layer of snow for 2 days, we were forced to postpone the quest. However, as the weather forecast for today was more favorable, we went back to the mountain range. Check that out. After spotting several boars below, Henry yelled out in alarm. Because we needed to find a better viewpoint in order to get a clear shot, we were unable to shoot just yet. After ensuring that I was in the correct position, I took a deep breath and then pulled the trigger. When the bullet struck the boar, it was like lightning, and it landed on the ground, killing it. Do you believe it managed to get away? No way to win. In my opinion, this beast must weigh at least 150 kills. Take a look at it. There is no doubt that they had recently come through this area. Indeed, our dogs discovered them and immediately began barking in a very loud manner. While we were waiting for Liam to get into position, we gently followed them in the hopes that we would miss our shot. After that, the time had come. We made a signal and then began firing. Despite their attempts to flee, the boars were too late. They would run right into the weapons of hunters who had years of experience. The damage that they created warrants one more shot for a clean boar, only to act as a punishment. At the same time, on a different slope, a massive herd of boars charged out, which took Mervyn completely by surprise. However, this result was the jackpot that we had been anticipating. After they had moved into a more advantageous position, Mervyn waited for them to move. His shot was unsuccessful. He did not give up and persisted in his pursuit of them. To our great relief, our hounds had cornered one of them. There was no time to waste. This time, the boars were unable to flee the area. We had just finished packing up our belongings and were about to leave when we unexpectedly came across yet another herd of wild boars. During that precise time, I did not hesitate and promptly aimed and shot my weapon. Once the shot was fired, it reverberated throughout the forest, signaling the conclusion of our successful hunt for the day. Do you have any thoughts? Wild boars that are particularly vicious have turned into a horrible nightmare for the people who live in the highlands, who live on the icy mountain peaks. It is not just that they ruin crops, but when they come into contact with humans, they instantly attack them. The government has initiated a comprehensive extermination campaign in order to protect the population as a result of this outbreak that is beyond their ability to manage. After reaching a consensus on a strategy for the fight, the group moved swiftly in the direction of the mountain, which is frequently frequented by wild boars. I was the youngest member, and I was given the responsibility of scouting their tracks over the snowy landscape. I was able to find them after a considerable amount of time spent looking for them. Right there they are. When they became aware of the potential threat, the entire herd sped up quickly. While we were not slowing down, we were rapidly retreating. One boar was sufficient for the first volley of the match. Several more individuals made an attempt to flee, but they were unable to evade the swift and decisive treatment of the hunters who had prior experience. Some of the other individuals attempted to flee, but they were unable to evade the rapid and decisive actions of the trained hunters. 20 minutes after we started going, we arrived at the crest of the mountain. I was looking very far into the horizon when I suddenly caught sight of a herd of boars. I was aware that it was not yet time to squeeze the trigger, despite the fact that my heart was pounding with excitement. During the time that I was waiting for the prey to get closer, I maintained my composure, managed my speed, corrected the aim, and then fired the trigger. After being shocked by the gunfire, the boars ran away in a state of terror. If, on the other hand, shots were taken accurately, practically the entire herd could be exterminated. Only the bodies of the boars, which are evidence of a successful hunt, are left on the snow that is completely white at this point. The boar's location was unintentionally revealed by the deep footprints that were found in the thick snow. These footprints were vital clues. Consequently, it was only a matter of minutes before we were able to recognize a new herd. Utilizing the confusion to my advantage, I slowly took aim at the target. After that, the shot that was fired from a distance of 500 meters still hit the target. In the past, the boars had fled in the direction of where Chad was ambushing. I went ahead and informed him right away, and everything went according to plan. Chad proceeded to descend from a higher vantage point into the serenely green area. The sound of the gunshot reverberated across the atmosphere. After being struck by the bullet, the boar quickly fell to the ground on the snow. Even though another terrified pig ran away, its every move was carefully monitored. Those who break in without any sense of fear will be awarded this prize. The group set up a surprise attack on the herd on the summit of the mountain in the afternoon. We discovered a herd of wild boars that was migrating just as we had anticipated. As soon as they were aware of the threat, they fled in a hurry, but I did not allow that to happen. I maintained my composure and concentrated my complete attention on aiming and firing. As a result of a string of headshots, a number of enormous boars completely lost their opportunity to flee. After putting in a lot of work, we were successful in killing a lot of wild boars. But it appeared that the search was not yet complete. A massive boar was going stealthily through the forest on the opposite side of the mountain slope. We never intended to show mercy, regardless of whether we were by ourselves or with a vast herd. Almost instantly, the shot was discharged in front of the pointed barrel. The wild boar was unable to flee the area. It's incredible to see how far we've come, a trophy that the entire squad can be proud of. As a result of the winter that arrived earlier and with greater intensity than normal this year, the mountains and forests were covered in a thick layer of snow, and the winds were extremely cold. The wild boar, on the other hand, did not exhibit any symptoms of slowing down and continued to travel aimlessly in quest of food. They had become increasingly reckless as a result of the limited resources available to them, destroying everything that stood in their way. We hunters made the decision to engage in a spectacular pursuit when we were confronted with this circumstance. In accordance with our agreement, we assembled at the base of the mountain before the sun rose. The recent activity of the boars was indicated by the presence of clear, deep tracks etched into the thick snow. They remained in close proximity. As our hunting hounds spread out and furiously pursued the prey, we moved forward cautiously while quickly following the trail until we reached our destination. It turned out to be a worthwhile opportunity. I raised my gun, positioned it so that the shot would be in the correct position, and then I pressed the trigger. Upon retrieval, the cannon makes a harsh cracking sound. A final yell was let out by the boar as it stumbled backward before dropping behind it. The dog's growling barks erupted once more, this time more fierce than they had ever been before, which was a solid sign that another victim had been discovered. This occurred just before the encounter came to a close. With a single fast shot, we were able to bring down another boar right there on the spot as we hurried through the towering pines that were covered in snow. As we followed other tracks, we made our way toward a thicket that was located close by. Together with my hunting companion, I started looking around, and as a precaution, we put a small camera on one of our dogs and let it walk freely so that it could seek deeper within the forest. Taking advantage of the situation, we fired without any hesitation. In a matter of seconds, the boar vanished. In other parts of the world, the pursuit was reaching a fever pitch. When the boars heard gunfire, they immediately ran away in every direction, as they perceived that they were in imminent danger. However, we had previously prepared ourselves for it. A quick succession of shots was fired by us after we had made meticulous adjustments to our optics. The final round rang out, and then another bullet dropped, putting an end to its attempt to flee to safety. After some time had passed, I relocated to a different vantage point, my eyes observing every action that occurred around me. That was the case. As it descended a mountain slope, a dark figure sped down the slope, obviously attempting to escape death itself.